Well, welcome back to Ingles Coach. Once again, we're going to try to get back on this two-seat buggy project that's been delayed by these last few sets of wheels that I've had to build. Now, this buggy has a little history behind it that I found to be quite interesting. The owner of it now, in his 70s, remembers hearing a story from his father when he was a boy going to town with his father, which would be the grandfather, to pick up this buggy and drive it home. Well, on the way home, the grandfather thought that this buggy top was in the way and had no use for it. So he stopped, took it off, threw it in a coulee somewhere, and forgot about that top. So this buggy, to their remembrance, has not had a top on it from that day onward. Well, the grandson, now in his 70s, would like to have this buggy restored to go to his son and put this top back on. Well, I went out and I scrounged through some of my scrap iron that I use, and I had some different odds and ends of what's called shifting rails. Now, many of you may wonder why I determined that the seat that goes on the back of this buggy was the original rear seat. Well, it is because of the ironwork on the seat arms and on the back of this buggy. It has what is known as shifting rail eyes. And I recognize these eyes as being for the purpose of receiving a shifting rail. Now, this could have had two different styles of shifting rails. It could have had a partial shifting rail or a complete solid shifting rail. Well, I found a complete solid shifting rail, but it doesn't fit this style of buggy, and I'll show you why here in a moment. Now, when I was putting the ironwork on this back seat, which I do determine to be the original rear seat, there were some front braces for the seat arms and some corner braces back in the back corners. Well, there are a number of different styles of these rear corner braces that are designed to receive shifting rails. You can see here the original, and I found another one that's a little larger, but the same basic style and design. So the purpose of a shifting rail, just the fundamentals of it, is a detachable iron, usually made out of oval iron, that will attach to the rear seat, or if it is a single seat buggy, to the only seat, so that the top can be built onto this shifting rail, and then the whole top can be detached, dismounted from the seat, and to be still attached to this rail, which kind of keeps the top somewhat in an orderly fashion when it is dismounted. Well, this shifting rail that I found, I'm going to put on this back seat just to kind of give you a comparison of what it looks like and some of the ironwork. It gets kind of a jumbled up mess altogether, so I'm going to take it apart down to its individual pieces, and we'll kind of see some of the similarities and differences between different makers of shifting rail irons, shifting rail eyes, and the shifting rails themselves. So this set of seat irons has built into it a handhold, which this two-seat buggy does not have. But the basic style of the seat arm iron is very similar in its curvature and how it attaches. Now the back iron, the back corner brace is a little different. As you can see, instead of separate, this corner is built into also the rear seat iron brace. So doctors' buggies, piano box buggies, runabouts, all the same buggy, just called by a different name. But they oftentimes have more curvature to those seats than this spring wagon does. So as I put this shifting rail up against this buggy, you'll see that the back has a curve to it as opposed to the straight lines in this spring wagon seat. So not only is it too narrow, typical of a smaller buggy, but also is designed for a seat with more curvature. So I also found in my scrap pile another style of a partial shifting rail still attached to the seat ironwork. And we can see here that the seat handle is also incorporated into the front seat arm iron. But the back iron brace for the corner and for the brace for this back of the shifting rail is totally different altogether. And as we look at the shifting rail and the seat arm iron, how it attaches to the seat arm brace, it is again different also. Just another different style, kind of like a difference between a Ford and a Chevy and a Dodge. They all function the same, but they all have their unique styles. Then I also came across this other style that is different altogether. It has two irons that doesn't have the corner brace like the previous ones do. And it was designed for a seat arm that was very deep compared to these other spring wagon seats. Most likely, my guess is maybe this came off of a Phaeton style buggy. I don't really know, that's speculation, but it's just different altogether and a little more simple. Well, I also found another pair of shifting rails that are a partial style rail. And this is maybe a little fancier for this buggy, but let's take a closer look at it. It has shifting rail clips which are adjustable, which is kind of unique, makes it a little more interchangeable. And the back end of this rail is not just chopped off with a blunt end, but somebody has taken the time to make kind of a decorative knob on the end of this. Now this last pair of shifting rails that I came across, actually did run them through the sandblaster. They were just as rusty as all the rest, but these are a little more of a common style partial shifting rail. So, you know, they don't have the adjustable clips. They are designed to be permanent one position style of a shifting rail. They don't have the decorative ends like the previous shifting rails had, but these have been just cut off square. So they're a little more simplistic, a little more of a basic style shifting rail. Well, the back two shifting rail eyes actually fit this shifting rail quite close. But it's a little long in the side. You can see where there's about an inch difference where they are too long for the irons that I have on the seat. Maybe it's just where I put the irons, but I think maybe these were designed for a different seat altogether. So I'm going to shorten these up, and I think I can make these work. Now maybe the question is, why did I choose these where I have to adjust it? Why didn't I just use the shifting rail with the adjustable shifting rail clips? Well, it's because of a couple of things. A two-seat buggy like this is basically a pretty plain utilitarian style buggy. It was the F-250, so to speak, of that day, the 3/4 ton working buggy. The front seat was often left in permanently, and the rear seat was often removed, and they hauled the cream cans or the eggs to town or the groceries back home. So this was kind of the pickup utilitarian type vehicle on the farm back when. So this was not really a decorative style of buggy, but it was more utilitarian. So this second to last set of shifting rails, I think, are a little too fancy for this buggy. That's why I chose to take the shifting rails that are a little more basic and a little more plain, and with just a little bit of work I can make them fit, and I think they fit the character, era, and style of this buggy more than the other ones did. The other one also had brass top nuts on it, and I don't think that would have been characteristic for this style of buggy. So anyway, that's why I chose this last set to fit the character and style of this buggy. So anyway, this is kind of an introduction to the function and style and differences between different shifting rails. They're made to attach the top to and make them easier to be removed from the buggy. And maybe that's why the grandpa was so quick to take it off. It was quick, easily detachable, and got thrown in the coulee. So anyway, from here we're going to continue on to put this top together. We've got to build the framework and get it all measured out and fitted correctly. It's one thing unique about tops, they fit each individual buggy individually. They are not very often transferable from buggy to buggy. They are all custom fit, and that's what we have to do next. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this kind of introduction. Thanks for following along, and as always, thanks for watching.